Today's podcast is brought to you by HLA Productions. Join the conversation on family law, true crime, and more with your host, me, Heavenly Leanne Akers. Hello, everybody. So, this is obviously going to be a episode of Talks with Heavenly. I know I have not done one in a while. And here's the thing. So, there is some stuff that I would like to talk about, and I've been kind of preparing and doing some research on this. And it's mostly because here recently, if you happen to be watching this in video form, if not, I'm going to try to make sure that everything's audible so that way you can hear. So, not too long ago, I had posted a video, which I will link up here in the corner, that is basically real talk. Hey, let's have a real conversation. This is everything that's kind of going on. Well, here's the thing. So I had posted a shorts reel, basically a shorts video on YouTube, talking about the importance of DEI. Now, at this point, you kind of have an idea of where this is going, but if you bear with me, because I have done some extensive research, just kind of like backing up my claims and then also understanding other people's point of views and etc. Now, here's the thing. So I got a series of comments, and I'm talking anywhere from basically somebody telling me like, wake up, and then somebody telling me that DEI is harmful. And then another person saying, oh, another person who thinks that they should get a job based on their identity instead of their qualifications. Dear Lord. Another person saying this isn't smart. Now, here's the dealio, right? I understand that like I don't have to respond to hate comments. I don't have to respond to it at all. However, my thought is that I am not a big fan of ignorance. And there seems to be quite a bit of that going around nowadays. And now I want to go ahead and get straight on into this. I don't want to waste a whole lot of time blobbing and talking about my own personal experiences because even knowing, yes, I am and was a DEI director for a said such company. However, this is not just a personal investment or personal, I'm not, yes, you can in some way, shape, or form say that I'm personally or emotionally invested in this, but there is a bigger picture to it. Okay. So bear with me because we're about to get into this and I have a whole presentation that I've been working on and I'm about to show you. So if you're watching this on YouTube and if you are not, I'm going to read this for you. So starting off with our very first one, DEI history. And just so you're aware for any person out there that's listening, and if you don't agree with me, just be aware that DEI has been around for a hot freaking minute, and clearly you just don't realize it. So 1960. So back during like the civil rights movement of 1960, DEI was brought in. 1961, an Executive Order 10, and of course my laptop chooses to go to sleep at the wrong time. Executive Order 10, 925, signed by President John F. Kennedy. Okay? John F. Kennedy. Executive Order, DEI. You can look it up. The next one. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 was a key piece of legislation that outlawed employment discrimination. Again, DEI. 1965, Executive Order 1024-6, signed by President Johnson in 1964. This order required government employees to hire without regard to race, religion, or national orientation. Now, mind you, okay, when we're talking about DEI, a lot of people want to wrap it up with like LGBTQI+. A lot of people want to wrap it up with trans rights. A lot of people want to wrap it up with a whole lot of stuff. And then people want to talk about, religious discrimination, blah, 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 because my personal beliefs don't align with other people's personal lifestyles, etc., whatever. That's fine. Here's the thing, though. This right here specifically says the order required government employees to hire without regard to race, religion, or national orientation. This had nothing to do with sexual orientation, gender, etc., blah, 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 blah. So when we're getting into this, hopefully by now you're starting to understand that the bigger picture is DEI was just the starting point of where we finally got to. Okay. Now, yes, we're going to get into some more recent occurrences of stuff that is going on. And yes, it is bothersome. It is worrisome. It is concerning. And for those that are out there like myself and my spouse, it is mortifyingly terrifying. Even if that's not even a word, it is literally just a combination of emotions put into a statement. And my thoughts are, okay, keep this in mind. Now we're gonna go over to the next part of this presentation. Okay, so diversity, equity, and inclusion in the workplace. A majority of U.S. workers say that focusing on DEI at work is a good thing. Now you can read the rest of this for yourself on the screen. Pause it. Read it, take your time, okay? Because there is going to be a lot of statistical stuff that is in here that is going to be like, basically, they have taken their time to make sure that they have talked to people, employers, workplaces, etc., to try to get as much information so that way they can prove the facts. And that's all we're looking at is just the facts, okay? And yes, I do know some people's arguments out there. On our next part of the presentation, you will see that they took a major ballot / vote / registration, whatever, between men, women, Hispanics, Asians, Blacks, and age groups between 18 to 29, 30 to 49, 50 to 64, and 65 and up. They also did a thing for employment, all employed, and everything between men, women, Black, white, Hispanic, Asian, and etc. And Republican and Democrat. They did it all. They made sure to cover their entire bases on this. And by the way, I will be linking this information down in the description. So if you would like to read it all for yourself and actually look over it and who did it, you can. But I can tell you right now, all of this is everything that was basically a platform for what I did when I was working for a said such company as a DEI director. Okay. So on the next one, it talks more about Democrats are more likely than Republicans to value in different aspects of the workplace diversity. They also did a vote on this too. And if you want, you can take a look at that. That's up to you. And then we're going to go over to the next one. And then we're almost done with the presentation. So half of workers place value in working somewhere that's accessible to their physical disabilities. Okay. So again, DEI does involve peoples with disabilities, including like affinity groups, etc., blah, 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 blah. It goes on and on and on. This is a big deal. This has been around since 1960. This isn't something that just miraculously popped up overnight. Okay. This isn't a Biden issue. This isn't a Trump issue. This is a bigger picture. This has been around for a long time. Now we're going to go on to the next one. Republican women are more likely than Republican men to say that DEI training they have participated in have been helpful. Okay. So yes, this also involves the differences between men and women, because clearly we know that women are undervalued in a lot of workplaces, especially underpaid, and just in general. From my personal experience in working in any type of atmosphere and dealing with DEI and seeing the difference between how men and women are treated in the workplace, it is literally outstandingly like devastating. Like, to see the difference, to see the difference is remarkably insane. Okay, I don't even have the words to fully fathom how remarkably different it is. Um, okay, going on to the next one. More than a third of workers say that being a man, it's easier to be successful where they work. Now, this is interesting because I think I just literally said something about this. Okay. About a third of women say being a woman makes it harder to be successful where they work. I just touched on this. You can take a look at these statistics for yourself. You can take a look at this because these are actual statistics from actual workplaces that they took actual votes from the associates, including higher ups, managers, GMs, etc. You can literally look at it for yourself. It's all there. I'm not doing this to convince anybody of anything. I'm just literally pointing out the fact. DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, has literally been around since 1960, and this has been an ongoing thing. The only reason why it's coming up now is because clearly politics, well, it's politics. They have to have a scapegoat. They have to have something to talk about. And here's the thing. I've heard the arguments of, hey, well, wouldn't that lower the standard for somebody, let's say, a prime example that I heard the other day that I thought was a really fascinating example. Somebody had said, hey, if I was going to be a doctor, let's say I was going to be a brain surgeon, and because of my disabilities, I'm able to excel in the same way as somebody that doesn't have a disability and become a doctor with a PhD, a neurosurgeon. But because of my disabilities, it could potentially put me in the position that I could hinder somebody's ability. But because of DEI, I am protected because I cannot be discriminated by my disabilities. Here's the thing. It does not lower the standards. The standards are literally the same. The only difference is that you can see statistically between African American people, Asians, Hispanics, including women, and everything. It literally, all these groups, especially African American people and LGBT people, and they are not one and the same. There is difference of aspects, okay? And I'm not going to get into all that, but there is a difference because they do particularly have to train harder, learn harder, study harder to pass their exams. It is not, oh, DEI will save me because, it prevents discrimination. What it prevents discrimination on is if somebody wants to intentionally fail somebody because they're African American, because they are LGBT, or because they are a woman. That is what DEI prevents. It does not give people a free out of jail card to say, oh, well, because I'm a woman, black, Asian, whatever, that DEI should give me a pass to still pass and not have to study as hard as everybody else does. It does not do that. So then gets to my next point, okay? And I'm pretty sure that everybody has been aware of this. So since Donald J. Trump has taken office as of January 20th of 2025, as of January 29th of 2025, there was a plane crash. As of January 31st, there was another plane crash. February 5th, there was another plane crash. As of February 10th of 2025, another plane crash. February 12th of 2025, another plane crash. February 16th of 2025, another plane crash. As of, let's see on here. Oh, and then not to mention, so here's the reason why a lot of people, yes, there was plane crashes that were happening during the time of Biden's administration, but not to this extent where it was one right after another. And it's because of the executive order that Donald Trump put in to basically disassemble DEI. As a result, the FFA or FAA had to limit and get rid of actual people that were working on the behalf of
to make sure that planes aren't colliding into each other like this, okay? Again, he goes on to say that DEI policies are the blame for this. He also goes on to say that even dwarfism is a reason for this. This is literally not the truth. To blame dwarfism for this is horrendous. It is appalling. That is not okay. And if you don't believe me, here's the clip.
Disability.
You can literally
dwarfism
watch it for yourself. You can hear
qualify
it for yourself.
for the
It is
position of
appalling
a
that
controller of
dwarfism or DEI policies are being blamed for basically people dying in airplane accidents, all because an administration wants to remove DEI policies. It's horrendous. We should not be having these conversations. We shouldn't. We should not be having these conversations. And also to explain, oh, well, how does this affect you? It does affect me. You want to know how it affects me? My husband was recently laid off, including several other LGBT members from the exact same company. Exact same company. So, remarkably, the same company that I worked for, that I no longer work for, thank God, laid off not just him, but several other LGBT associates on the exact same day, right after one of the shareholders of that company and was originally a CEO removed all African American and LGBT employer rights from the website. And that's from the employment website. That is horrendous. Then, to top it off, my spouse has literally not been able to get a job since then and has been declined from 3 jobs over his gender marker because my spouse is trans from female to male. This is horrendous. And because DEI and these policies have been dishambled, it allows companies now to fully discriminate against individuals of any nationality. It doesn't matter at this point. And don't even get me started on women's rights, because the things that they're doing to women, especially over healthcare, is appalling. It is terrifying. It is disgusting. This should not be happening in the year of 2025. And I'm sure that knowing that the demographic of most of my audience members here on YouTube and on other platforms being majoritarily female, I can understand where a lot of you are coming from. And I get it if you are pro-choice or not. However, I don't feel that it's in our place to dictate what somebody else does with their body. And that's all I'm going to say about that. But I will say that the next couple of years to come are going to be very interesting. And for my quote unquote haters out there, that find everything that I'm saying to be, BS. If you want to prove me wrong, go right ahead. Go right ahead. I would love to have this debate with you. I'd love to have this conversation with you. I have spent several years, not just in the life that I live, in my shoes that I live in, but also studying and understanding all this stuff to excel in my career. And to have somebody ignorantly tell me, oh, somebody else who believes that they should deserve their job because of their nationality, sexual orientation, or belief. That is not what it's about. Your ignorance is showing blatantly, and it is appalling. I really need you to pick up a book or at least use Google because it's relatively available for your access. Okay. You don't have to pay a subscription for it. So my thought is on all of this is that if you guys, for those out there that understand what I'm talking about, you share my frustration, you share my anger, please, if you want to have a conversation with me, if you are looking for somebody to talk to, if you are feeling troubled in the times that you are in right now, I am right there with you. If you would like to reach out to me, you can. You can access my email address through my website. You can reach out to me on Facebook if you would like. You can reach out to me here. I'm completely open to have a conversation with you. If you don't agree with me, I'm open to having a conversation with you too, because I'm not the type of person to shut the door in somebody's face when there is a discussion to be had where there is open questions. But if you are not willing to see my side of it, like I'm willing to see your side of it, then we are not going to have a conversation. I am not going to have a one-sided conversation with anybody that believes that just because they saw something on TV and that everybody else in Fox News is talking about it, it is 100% true, because it's not. I strongly suggest to any person out there to please do your research. Listen to several different podcasters, listen to several different news stations, listen to any newspaper. Make your own final decision, but evaluate it with a very open mind. Don't just jump to conclusions, because not everybody is out there just doing what you feel like Fox News or Trump or other people are saying. Nobody is out there trying to make this world the complete opposite. Everybody, in my opinion, I respect everybody's religious belief. I respect everybody's nationality. I respect everybody's sexual orientation. But I also believe that the playing field should be equal. Everybody should have equal pay. Everybody should have equal rights. And nobody should take their own personal beliefs and oppress somebody else's life based off of their personal beliefs. That is not okay. It's not okay. I don't feel like that's okay at all, because not only are you hurting individuals that have never done anything to you at all, you're not hurting anybody. It's the same thing. When me and my spouse went to go get our marriage license, they amended our marriage license several times because they kept having quote unquote issues with it. While yet other people were able to go out and get married, come back with their marriage license, and there was not a single problem under the sun. Believe me, I know what it means to be discriminated by in the workplace, in society, dealing with housing, bills, anything. I know what it's like. Hell, even being a parent, I had to literally change my entire life and my complete image just to have my son. That should tell you something. But if you have found today's podcast with Talks with Heavenly to be informative and interesting, and if you have anything that you would like to know about, just keep on listening to the podcast or reach out to me. You can find the podcast on multiple listening platforms now, including other podcasts like What Really Happened with Amanda Sullivan, an attorney at law, as well as Ghost Experiences with me and multiple guests. Until then, I will see you in the next one. Ta-ta.